What up, everyone? Welcome back to the anime version. You got me, Gozen from Anime Uproar, and Briggs from Briggs 88. What up, Briggs?
What up, boys? Good to be back and excited to talk about some Pokemon journeys.
Yeah, honestly, I want to, in a way, watch all of Pokemon. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but I think I'd have a bunch to watch because I only watched as a kid. Remember when we were kids, like
hmm
here and there. But it's been cool to actually watch something for the podcast, Pokemon related. And I gotta say, I was happy with it.
Yeah,
What
there's
about you?
there's a lot of episodes, but I do like Pokemon journeys a lot and want to keep on watching if you're interested.
hmm
So,
No, I definitely am. I just don't know if you wanted to like go straight from like 12 to 24, or did you want to like, skip to the fights, or what did you want to do?
we'll have to figure it out. My general
Yeah.
thoughts for Pokemon journeys, I think one, I had a ton of fun. I had a ton of fun with it.
hmm
Like from a nostalgia standpoint, as a Pokemon fan, I loved it. I feel like whoever created this specific season clearly cares about Pokemon and understand what the
Yeah.
fans want. I will say there are other seasons that I'm just like annoyed sometimes watching it because I'm like there's so much good they could have done and they fall short. And I feel like this is just like it's for the Pokemon fans, and it's probably this is the last season with Ash, and I feel like they went into this knowing that.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It felt special. It didn't feel like putting it out to put it out, which it
exactly.
sometimes does with these too big to fail, like so many episodes shows. It sometimes does feel like they're putting it out, the kids are watching, they'll get excited by Pikachu. They don't need to, we don't need to do a good story necessarily.
hmm
But I think that this was actually really fast paced. And part of what allowed that was I remember back in the day when we watched the first season. So he was just walking or then eventually biking from place to place, right?
hmm
Whereas here, they just get on a plane and they're in a completely different region. So literally, there was no limit to what they could explore in these first 12 episodes. So I think that helped it be like super uh, fast paced and able to explore like crazy things. I remember the beginning, it's introducing us to the Pokemon world, to be
hmm
fair. So you don't need a legendary every episode, but it was also crazy how many legendaries we got in such a short uh period of time in terms of episodes.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
stood out to me.
So
Yeah.
I want to agree and disagree. I want to agree that it was fast paced in regards to like they could get to different regions very quickly, and the type of Pokemon and the cool moments that we saw very fast, 100%. I do feel at times Pokemon, One Piece, they have a way of like keeping the pace slow so you could do a billion episodes. But especially like sometimes like the conversations and stuff, maybe it's just my patience. I watched it at like 1.25 and 1.5 speed, and honestly, it was amazing. Like I fucking loved it. I do think watching it at normal speed sometimes was a little bit like I'm like, all right, get there. I know where you're going. Get there.
Yeah. I
But it's also a
feel
kid show.
like
It's also a kid show. So like putting
also
it
a
to
kids show,
1.1.5 helped me a lot.
but the slowness of it in that sense that you're talking about, I felt was less, slowness and more taking a breather to enjoy the Pokemon world and the beauty of the
Yes.
Pokemon world. I felt like there was a lot of that in the season. Like some episodes, they had those slower moments, but it didn't feel slow. Like, for example, we have the episodes up to reference, and literally the picture they used for episode 3, which was Ivysaur's mysterious tower, it's them acting like an Ivysaur and just enjoying the breeze on their face.
hmm
And that, if you just want action, that's like, well, what is this? But it was enjoyable. It lets you appreciate the moment and the beauty of the Pokemon world they created. So I actually really like those kinds of moments.
100%. I do think they did a fantastic job. I think it's just me as an adult. I sometimes I just like I for these type of shows, I just need to watch it at a slightly faster pace, and especially in the first 3 or 4 episodes, they were 100% introducing the world, giving us a refresher on like who Ash is, uh, what Pokemon are, what
Yeah,
things that we already know. They were
I
refreshing us. in the
Yeah,
first 3 to 4
like
episodes.
yeah. I feel
Um,
like they do that because always assume, okay, there might be someone who just starts with this season.
hmm I mean,
I
there's a
think they
new
always
kid.
assume that.
There's a
Yeah,
new kid turning
exactly.
6 or 7 that wants to get into Pokemon and is going to turn on their TV and watch the most recent episode or the most recent season. And I do understand why, and I do
Yeah,
think they
it's the
did a
same
great
thing
job.
with cards, right? Like, for example, someone might start collecting Pokemon like the last few years compared to us who grew up with the OG stuff.
hmm
And for them, like a Umbreon VMAX or Moonbreon card may be nostalgic in the future, like the Charizard base set card is for us, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think is actually cool about Pokemon. It's like not tied to one single generation. It seems to have people coming in and they make it like that so you can come in and all of a sudden it's so deep, like the fandom.
Oh yeah.
There's people in this pocket, people in this pocket. It's crazy. And then obviously there's overlap sometimes, but yeah, it's amazing what a franchise can do. And I think Pokemon's the biggest one in the world. So
hmm
yeah, let's keep that in mind while going into this.
So I will say, Goes, and you're jumping into a beautiful season because I know you've only watched an episode here, an episode there. Like I've watched hundreds of Pokemon episodes. Like I've watched all the way up until Diamond and Pearl, which I know there's a lot of content after that, but I've watched a lot of seasons and I feel like this season actually cares and they are taking their time with it. The first episode is literally called Enter Pikachu, and it's like a prequel episode, and it covers like Pikachu when they were Pichu, which I've never seen this content before,
No,
and their like
no.
wholesome life with like I don't even know what the Pokemon was called.
Kangaskhan.
Yes, Kangaskhan, and it was so cute. Pichu in Kangaskhan's little pouch, and this like the events leading to his evolution, like things like this, I find so cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that it can, at this point, it's such an old show. Like,
hmm
this came out in 2020. So, Pokemon's been around for a long time, including the anime. And so, yet they could give us fresh, very important information. And one of that is Pikachu's backstory. So, I really appreciated the fact that we didn't just get filler stuff and stuff that doesn't change fundamentally what we know. We also got the whole Pikachu backstory, which is very big deal. And I like the fact that we got it so far into the show.
Yeah.
They can still give us big deals.
Exactly, and I feel like having a wholesome backstory like that makes sense as to why Pikachu becomes the amazing like Pokemon that they are.
Elaborate that. Why do
Well,
you think
because
that backstory makes it like
well,
that?
Pichu was by themselves
Hmm.
and kind of going through it, and then had like a kind of a parental Kangaskhan taking care of it and like mothering it or fathering it or whatever. And I just feel like I don't know, Pikachu throughout the seasons cares for others, tries to protect others, and like has obviously Pikachu's been around for so long, but whenever a new
Hmm.
Pokemon joins like the cause, I feel like Pikachu wants to take care of them, right? Also,
Hmm.
Pikachu doesn't like being in Pokeballs. I think there's a backstory to that, but always wants to like ride on top of Ash. So I feel like there's
It's
these
interest.
contributing
Yeah.
factors from the
I
backstory.
mean, there is that. Definitely like yeah, like it was in Kangaskhan's pouch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Likes to be on Ash. But what I was interested in is why do you think it went from that Pichu sad story a bit because it's like Pichu was getting too heavy along with
Mm-hmm.
the baby Kangaskhan, so it didn't want the Kangaskhan to suffer, even though the Kangaskhan was down to
Mm-hmm.
keep carrying them both. And so it left and eventually, became a Pikachu better able to uh, fend for itself. But why do you think it started off in a foul mood? As like because it was in the Pokeball or when it started with the Ash journey?
Um. Hmm.
Because it was pretty happy like Pokemon. Maybe it was sad that it had to
Why do
leave.
I
Maybe
think
it didn't like being
Pikachu?
captured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he was probably captured against his will, given to a random trainer, and the trainer expects like, yeah, we're gonna be best friends now, without earning its like trust or respect in any way.
But that's funny because I feel like Pikachu's an exception.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, even if it's hard to catch a Pokemon, once you catch them, they're like, "Hey, I accept you as my trainer," you know? And we've seen that with we can get to it, but Ash's friend, what's his name again?
Go, or yeah,
Go. Go literally catches things so easily it irritates me.
yeah.
I just remember playing the old games and like having to like, you know, bring the HP down of the Pokemon and like put him to sleep or something. And this guy just like, bam, caught a pincer, bam, caught everything.
Oh yeah,
So
I was really
that
screaming at stream. I'm like, attack him once. Don't just throw a Pokeball at him. I understand he's probably
yeah,
catching like
it was
level
annoying.
5 or under like starter Pokemon within the region a lot of the time, but like still.
Yeah, it better be that. But I did like how he got reality checked when he actually tried to do a battle, and he probably
Hmm.
thought it would be as easy as catching Pokemon are, and then he got absolutely destroyed. So, because I think it was going too easy for him, like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm glad that okay, so his strength is, I guess, thinking and catching Pokemon, whereas Ash is obviously the one that battles. And I was for a while there, I was upset that Ash isn't catching anything. I guess he scratched that itch.
I feel like yeah, he doesn't care to catch anything unless it's like a Pokemon he's really interested or has built a bond with first, or has like some type of, I don't know. There's something more than just like I want to catch them all, which was kind of his thing, or not his
Yeah,
thing. I
but
guess that was just a series thing.
it's good because every Pokemon season is sort of like Luffy getting the Straw Hats with that team of six,
Yeah.
you know, that Ash has to get. So I think that every season they want to be very careful with what kind of Pokemon that he catches they devote time to because it may end up being like his final team of six that he goes on to do the championship with or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I do
Yeah.
think yeah we have 100 and somewhat episodes of this Pokemon journeys. There's probably no rush in catching those Pokemon. He could do one every 20 episodes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say
100%.
we got a backstory for Ash and Go as well when they were children, going to like
Ash missed it though, right?
yeah,
He
Ash
slept
missed
through.
it, and then that's how Go ended up seeing Mew. I'm trying to like connect the dots here. I feel like I was a little bit confused when I first watched it. Um,
They're good at creating drama because yeah. So apparently, and again, I don't know if I even knew this, but Mew can just take the shape of any other Pokemon.
I
So it
didn't know
was
that
literally
either.
pulling a Ditto. Now, hopefully it's something like I don't know what it is. Literally, I maybe it's like using Psychic to trick everyone to thinking it's looking like a different Pokemon because it's a psychic Pokemon. So it's like an illusion. Or maybe because they keep saying it has the DNA of like every Pokemon, so maybe it can actually just transform into them. I have no idea. It's it's definitely new for me, but it was interesting and it was funny how he kept saying, "Yo, Mew will be the first Pokemon I catch," and they really got emotional for a kid level show with Scorbunny like wanting to be partners later on,
Yeah,
and then
I
him
loved
being
it.
like, "Yeah, I can't. Mew has to be my first cat." So obviously, it made up for it that he did eventually pick it, but it was so sad, bro. Like this left everything, jumped on the train, was following them, and then just got rejected.
So Mew can actually do it. It could use transform. Okay, it could use the move transform, I guess,
Like Ditto,
like
okay.
Ditto. Um, what was I gonna say? So I don't know if you realized. No, obviously you realized the first couple episodes of what I thought was cool was that they were giving us like the backstory of Pikachu and Ash and stuff like that, containing stuff that's already been done and already been shown, along like giving us a refresher along
Yeah,
with new content, which I
yeah,
honestly
yeah.
really enjoyed. Um,
And they reanimated it. They didn't get lazy.
exactly.
Yeah.
So prior to this season, once they are, you know, going around catching Pokemon, doing things, all the other seasons prior to this are canon. They all happened. Ash has 10 billion badges, 70 to 100 plus Pokemon back home. Those are all like when I was watching this and I was like, "Oh, he's getting Pikachu." I thought they were like redoing it. They were like gonna like refresh us on the backstory, and it was gonna be like a brand new like restart journey for Ash for some reason. But like all the stuff that happened before this all actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, the only confusing thing is the movies
The movies
cuz
aren't canon, I don't think.
yeah, I guess that makes sense cuz I'm thinking like they acted like they never met Lugia, where obviously Lugia was in the second movie, but I guess you got to remember that the movies aren't canon.
Yeah.
And Mew, like the Mew in the movies and stuff like that. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
guess it's like One Piece in that sense.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused. I thought they were like redoing it. And this is going to be like Ash's real journey and how he becomes the Pokemon master, and they're giving him like a final, like goodbye type of thing before bringing in a new trainer. But then Team Rocket shows up and they're like they already know Ash. I'm like interesting. And then as things go by, I'm like yeah, no, they just everything happened prior. They just kind of gave us a refresher in the beginning, and then somehow he's still 13 years old, but has been on like 19 journeys. But Go just started his journey.
I know he started at 10. I don't know if what his official age is
Yeah, I don't
at
know.
this series, but yeah, he started at 10. I know that.
So yeah, maybe he had a 3 year head start, and then Go just started now.
Yeah, and I like the fact that in this one, Pikachu is strong, right? Like
Hmm.
sometimes I just feel like in the past, what upset me was you know how there was Circle Pokemon, Diamond Pokemon, Star Pokemon. I'm going off the cards,
Hmm.
or you could say like stronger, weaker. Like sometimes you'd get a new season and Pikachu, after everything it's been through, would lose to like a Circle Pokemon, and
Dude,
it's like, what are you doing?
Pikachu lost to a level 5 Snivy. Like
There you go.
it actually like this is what I'm saying. I do think this season really cares. Other seasons are just like let's just restart. It's like let's just give them a restart, a refresher. And this season definitely
Yeah,
cares a lot more.
I appreciate this season builds on it, and part of it is probably I'm guessing we're not gonna have gyms, but maybe we will later.
I
But
don't
the
know if
gyms kind of pigeonholes them into like re-power scaling because they kind of imitate the games, and then in the games you're obviously going from weaker gyms to
mhm.
stronger gyms like every generation, and so that kind of messes up with like the Pikachu strength level.
Well, okay, I might just. Do you mind if I spoil like the new system for you in this season? I think I watched
Sure,
one episode, one extra episode. So there
sure.
might still be gyms, but there's a ranking system, an online ranking system in
Hmm.
this thing where when you challenge a trainer or maybe a gym leader, I don't know if there's
An
gyms.
Elo.
There's like an elo, and there's
Yeah.
like four different tiers, and if you make it to the highest tier, then you could compete in like the final tournament against like I think you watched episode 12, and it had like the World Coronation Series. Um,
Yeah, episode 12, Flash of the Titans. The guy with the dragon trainer, Lance
yes.
versus Leon,
So
right?
Lance and
Leon.
Leon, I believe in the video games were like part of the Elite Four or gym leaders or something. So clearly, like in the canon, they're like the best of the best. And I think basically, if Ash wins enough Elo
He
throughout this
can
season, he could
he
enter the
can
tournament.
challenge them.
Not even challenge them, like just a tournament. Like this was the finals of the tournament, I think. But there was probably a whole tournament with tons of leaders and or tons of trainers prior to that battle. And I
The
think,
only thing that bothered me
go ahead.
though, the only thing that bothered me is there was one Pokemon versus one Pokemon. Like, what the
Yeah, they
fuck?
should be like at least three.
That's a weird. I'm thinking it wasn't like the tournament because I think the tournament's always multiple Pokemon. I think maybe it was a tournament. But they did say it's for who's the best, so I don't know. But it's weird that it was just like Charizard versus Red Gyarados.
Yeah, maybe for the finals they're like choose one, but prior to that, like the other tournaments, maybe it was like I would hope it'd be multiple Pokemon.
Yeah, me too. I like how they you'd think Gyarados would end up being like super effective against Charizard, but it's cool how they ended up giving Charizard Thunder Punch,
Hmm.
which is very super effective against Gyarados because there's a multiplier there because he's flying and water, which are both weak against lightning. So yeah, that was cool. I like the thought they put into these battles, even when like situations like when Pikachu uses electric web and bounces off of it
Hmm.
as electric Pokemon and uses it to power up its Iron Tail or something. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I think they really did this season for the fans. It feels so much better than the other. I don't want to say crap seasons, but there was definitely some crap seasons that I was just like,
Yeah, if that's the case, and for reference, on IMDb, they're all like over 7 out of 10, right? And some approaching 8, which is, I would think, rare for Pokemon out of the episodes we watched. Like, so yeah, it's clear that a lot of people think it's a solid show, and I agree. Yeah, there was a lot of good parts in it. You want to talk about the Lugia part?
Sure. I'm trying to remember which episode that happens in.
So
That
that's
was like
episode 2.
two.
Lugia just shows up, takes them on a ride, and they figure out little cool things. That's part of what I like about Pokemon. Even like reading the cards is learning a bit about the Pokemon and
Hmm.
something about it. Just like you're a biologist and you're like researching animals. Here, they research for the lab, and so you find out cool Pokemon statistics or facts. And here was something like Lugia, something about Lugia's coat or something that it wasn't as they thought it would be, and something like I can't remember the specific details, but I just remember it's cool getting to know these details about fan favorite Pokemon.
Hmm. Honestly, I just really enjoyed like the scenery of them on top of Lugia going through the world. Lugia's
Yes,
attacks, them going underwater. Lugia caring about the safety of Ash and Go and like the wholesomeness of that. I really liked.
and I like how it didn't have to be a we're gonna catch you, like,
Exactly.
or beat you. Like obviously Ash wanted to, but eventually they just became friends and they appreciated a moment with the Pokemon without needing to beat it or catch it. And although obviously as a trainer you want to catch that Lugia,
Oh yeah.
like
I was
I
like,
think
I'm
we
like
could
throw
all
a
relate to
Pokeball.
that if we
I'm like,
played the game. Yeah,
yeah, I'm literally watching this stream. I'm like, that was so wholesome. I love it. But now throw a Pokeball.
exactly. But I do like how there's something for, and I think the new generation, from what I heard, without Ash, focuses more on different ways to kind of move in the Pokemon world and different goals, not just
Hmm.
being the strongest. But it's cool that we see so many different ways to enjoy the Pokemon world, and even like games like Pokemon Snap encourage you to do that, where you're not catching it, you're just trying to see Pokemon in their habitat and grab cool pictures of them. So again, makes the Pokemon world deeper, and something I appreciate about this season.
100%. Yeah, like you mentioned, the Bulbasaur moment was kind of was very
Yeah,
wholesome. I liked the kind of I didn't love Go as a character at first, but he was definitely right in certain regards where it's like let's let the Pokemon figure it out because if we just do stuff for them, then they're not gonna know how to do it themselves. So let's not
hmm
baby them. Like we're here to help each other and assist each other, but sometimes you just gotta like let each other learn. Learn from their
yeah.
mistakes. You can't just
I like
interfere
how
in their
flawed.
lives. You don't want to
Yeah,
interfere in their lives so much that you affect it, right?
yeah, I like how flawed Ash is.
Oh yeah.
Like obviously flawed as a character, but but that makes interesting interactions,
But
right? Like if
such a good person. Like he just wants to help
oh
Bulbasaur out.
yeah, exactly.
Bulbasaur's
Yeah,
hitting
that
his head against the wall. He just wants to help little buddy out.
exactly. And he rushes in, he says stuff he probably doesn't mean,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I don't need your friendship, stuff like that. But it's just this kid energy, which
Hmm.
is like super strong, and then sometimes he'll rush in and mess up, but it makes for entertaining character for sure.
Yeah, and you gotta remember these guys are like 10. I keep on saying different
Yeah,
ages. I don't know. They're like 11 and a half or something.
they're definitely at least 10 now. Now Ash could be more, but they probably didn't age him, knowing how cartoons work.
Yeah.
He just gains experience and doesn't gain age.
Dermatologists hate him. He still looks 13 at 43
Yeah,
years
those
old.
those ads. Those ads. Yeah.
How did you like Scorbunny? Oh wait! Before Scorbunny, Team Rocket gets introduced this episode, and they have that
Yeah,
little
that was
like
exciting.
they have that little device. Oh, also the Pokemon choices. I'm all over the place. The Pokemon choices for like Lance and Leon, and even for Team Rocket, I fucking love it. They're just bringing back like strong OGs that everyone loves. They're like Charizard, Gyarados,
Yeah, or it's
Tyranitar,
funny, like the Bellsprout. Like it's
or yeah.
either cool, epic, like the Tyranitar and the Gyarados,
Hmm.
or it's like funny, where it's like Bellsprout, and Bellsprout's not gonna do anything against that giant turtle Pokemon. I don't even know its name.
Exactly. And even Wailord, I don't know if you got there. I
Yeah,
was
yeah, I
loving
did.
it.
I did.
I was loving it
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much that I kept on watching more episodes, and I used like I could tell whoever made this cares because they're like, let's do some stuff for the OGs, and they're like showing
Exactly.
Tyranitar, and of course like the finals of the coronation, they're like, let's do Charizard and Gyarados, Pokemon everyone loves.
And not just that, Red Gyarados, which you know well if you played the second gen.
Yeah,
That's one of the Pokemon you catch, the Red Gyarados.
and I bet you, as the season kind of goes on, part of the reason why they probably only did one Pokemon is they don't want to spoil the other Pokemon these epic gym leaders have or trainers have. And I think they're
True.
gonna be from other regions, like OG's amazing Pokemons from other regions. So like throughout Ash's travels, there was always like a couple cool Pokemon that everyone loved, and I have a feeling that Leon's gonna be like, yeah, I got Charizard, but also in the second region I got like Blaziken. Like I don't I don't know.
No, yeah, probably
Maybe
not,
maybe not
because they're all
Blaziken because
fire
they're all
types
fire,
then.
but
But yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm trying to
No,
say.
for sure. I know 100%. Um, yeah. So, what do we want to talk about next? Score Bunny?
Yeah. So, well, did you enjoy the Team Rocket coming back in the battles?
Yeah, 100%. Team Rocket is epic, and I was glad to see them because I don't know for sure in the anime because again, I pretty much watched some of Gen 1, some of Gen 2, and as a kid, we didn't have streaming services. So it was just like what's on TV at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not watching in order really. You're just catching what you can at the time. And so, I didn't know much, but I know in the games it stops being Team Rocket and it starts being Team Magma or Team Sapphire or
Mm-hmm.
like there's different kind of enemies. And I don't know if the anime kept Jesse and James throughout.
So there was
Uh,
always Jesse and James, but there were other evil organizations through other seasons, and then Jesse and James would just like pop in there and be like, Team Rocket.
okay, cool. But yeah, so for me, as someone who didn't know if they would return, I was really glad to see them return for this season. Obviously, Jesse and James, iconic Meowth. They keep doing the Team Rocket-esque, not Team Rocket-esque, Power Rangers-esque intros, which are always
Jesse,
enjoyable.
James.
Yeah, yeah. They say the same thing every
I
time,
love it.
but yeah, 100%. No, I was hyped, and if I don't know if you know Briggs, but they're coming out with a Team Rocket set, Pokemon card
Ooh,
wise,
cool.
and people are so hyped about it because yeah, that Team Rocket carries so much weight
Oh yeah.
because people love it so much. Like even OGs would remember like Dark Pokemon, which are pretty much Team Rocket Pokemon. It was one of the most popular sets back in the day. So yeah, definitely I felt the Team Rocket hype.
Hell yeah. All right. Score Bunny.
Also, I just want to say, we'll get to this probably, but the Whale Lord using Splash, again, that's something that real fans would appreciate because Splash is like the stupidest, weakest move.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd associate it with back in the day with just using it with a Magikarp. And here they gave it to Whale Lord, which is just the size is huge, and thus inevitably a weak move like Splash ends up being like a tidal wave
I love
or
it. I
something.
loved it. I thought it was so good.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, like a gigantic Pokemon like that using Splash is gonna be like a tsunami.
exactly. Exactly. I like the little details like that.
Oh my god, I love it. Score Bunny. I really like the personality of Score Bunny.
Yeah. And that's something you can say. Every Pokemon seems to have personality here
Hmm.
and character seems to have their own personality. And Score Bunny is definitely like playful, kicks, like ready to hit Ash. And I think we've seen that with like the Pokemon and Team Rocket in the past. Like, um, was it like Weeping Bell or something? Like, eating James's face or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
So it's interesting seeing like these animals interacting and their personality. Yeah.
Yep, and we got some wholesome moments between Score Bunny and Go, even though, like you said, it was kind of like sad at first when it's like clearly Score Bunny wanted to be Go's Pokemon, and he's just like, no, I want to have Mew.
Yeah.
But then
Exactly.
as their bond grew and as they worked together, especially fighting the Dynamax Snorlax, which we'll talk about in a second, he eventually catches Score Bunny as his first Pokemon, and I loved it.
Yeah, and the interacting of different Pokemon in the Pokemon world is interesting. We talked about Pichu and Kangaskhan. And here, Scorbunny uh, is taking care of three of those fox Pokemon. I think they're called Nickets or something like that. And so he's kind of their leader, and the Pokedex doesn't recognize him because he's covered in mud.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it's interesting how, they were having trouble, but then he helped them, and then eventually they learned his tricks and showed him so that he could leave and go with Go because he really liked Go after Go complimented him. And then we have this whole series of funny events where he's trying to get their attention in like laid back, I'm cool, no big deal, I'm not trying to get your attention kind of way, but it keeps failing
Yep.
until they get to the Snorlax, right?
How did you feel about the Dynamax in a Pokemon?
Yeah, so again, my personal experience colors the experience of me watching the show. I got back into Pokemon collecting with Sword and Shield, and so I really like seeing the Dynamax now in the show after I've seen it so many VMAXs in the cards.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I really enjoy it. I even knew that the Dynamax Snorlax would end up having a mini island on itself,
So that's
pretty
like
much.
that's canon in the cards and in the game as well. It's the
Yes.
same. I thought maybe like
Yes.
the Dynamaxy might be different depending on the Pokemon. Like this one Dynamax with like a fucking waiting under a tree trying to get that honeycomb or whatever.
Yeah, the Snorlax Dynamax may even be the chase card of the first Sword and Shield set.
Really?
It's not super expensive, but I think it's the most expensive of those
I
cards.
mean, it's a really cool Dynamax. It's so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, the only problem is like they hadn't introduced like alt arts, which is pretty much like we see in the shows, Pokemon in real world full art situations.
Hmm.
So it was before a certain set, it was just like Snorlax and a bunch of colorful lines and effects behind him, which isn't that interesting, right? Like you'd rather see Dragonite sleeping in the sky with pharaohs passing underneath than generic background.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, Pokemon's so cool.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm like. Again, we're sticking to the Pokemon topic, but just very quickly, I'm I'm looking at Yu-Gi-Oh, and again, a lot of their backgrounds are just for the cards are generic, whereas the fact that Pokemon can put them in real life situations, like real animals,
Hmm.
gives them such a leg up, in my opinion, for how cool the cards can get.
How cool the art can get. Yes,
And cool,
absolutely.
yeah, how cool the art can get on the cards. So yeah, like you don't picture Dark Magician Girl having coffee with Yugi, for example, because they're kind of associated with just coming out for the
For the
card
card game.
game and not with the real world.
Yeah, they have their strengths and weaknesses. I feel like the concept of Pokemon is so much better. It's something that as a kid
It's
you
so much
love.
deeper. You
Yeah.
could mine it so much more. Yeah.
But the game is just better. The anime is just better. Like oh man. There's like I feel like there's so much that's just better about Yu-Gi-Oh, but then the concept of Pokemon is just unmatched.
Yeah, like again, and that's debatable, right? Not everybody would agree, and it's like what season of Pokemon versus what season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's fair.
But to be fair, I haven't watched the ones we were gonna watch with Nux at some point, the 5Ds or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys said it was good. Like, I don't know, I just see those designs for some of those newer ones. I like kind of GX, like that. I was still kind of into it at that point. But then some of the designs and the crazy hairstyles for some of the new ones, it didn't get me to keep watching or want to watch.
I think that's fair. I don't know. I don't even know how to properly explain it because obviously the first scene of Yu-Gi-Oh is rough around the edges as well. It just feels like for a long
It's
time
just
the
nostalgic for me, yeah.
for a long time the Pokemon um, anime, while fun and the concept is so fun, it just felt like they were sometimes just shitting it out just to like get something out there. Like we're just never gonna stop releasing Pokemon seasons. While a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh seasons were just like, in my opinion, super hype, and the card game is
Mm.
just like a better game. But the
And
concept of
you,
Pokemon can't be touched. It's like it's been around forever for a reason, and everyone knows it for a
yeah.
reason. And I
And I
loved
do
the
think,
concept when I was eight,
yeah,
and I love the concept now that I'm 28. Like it's just crazy to say.
yeah, agreed. And I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is more mature though.
Yes.
So I think that's something you gotta consider. They're going for a more mature audience. You have like the Shadow Realm and stuff like that. Like it gets pretty dark in a way that Pokemon won't. So they're kind of hard to compare because they're different
Oh, for
demographics.
sure. It's definitely a younger demographic for Pokemon. They tried to like kid it down for Yu-Gi-Oh! We're like we're going to go send them to the Shadow Realm. When like in the manga, it's actually like you die if you lose the duel,
Yeah.
which is crazy for a children's card
No,
game.
no, it's funny. I watched some of that stuff, and it's just like there was actual saws that will cut off your legs if you lose a certain amount of life points.
Hmm.
And in the four kids dub, they kind of had like I don't know, like it was like light discs, which I don't know. Like they said, like you'd sent to the Shadow Realm if like they touched you or
Yeah,
something.
dude, Kaiba pulled up with a gun, and then the four kids, he just pointed his finger.
Go had to go back to not being good at everything, but Ash got a chance to shine. I'm talking about the Flute Cup of Briggs.
Oh, I love the Flute Cup, man. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. That's the best rated episode of the ones we watched so far. And yeah, I think part of it is we got to see Ash shine at what he's good at.
Hmm.
And I like I said, I appreciate that reality check for Go because he was just breezing through his everything he did. And it was nice to see,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you can't just be amazing at everything as soon as you try. Ash has so much experience and it really showed.
And the fact that they let Ash have that experience and win the Flute Cup and actually like show off his skills and the fact that he's been a trainer for a decent amount of time or at least a decent amount of battles. I don't know how time works in this series. But like I really appreciated that because like we said in other seasons, it feels like he's like restarting every season and this one they clearly have everything prior being canon, including his skills and Pikachu's skills. And some of the fights themselves it felt like you were watching like a Pokemon battle from like the game, but then they would like do these dynamic moves every now and then with like you said Pikachu using the electric web to speed up
Yeah.
its movement off of like the ceiling, coming down with a spinning iron tail. Like it was so good.
Yeah,
This
you need
this
that to
children's
make the
show
show
is so good.
interesting. Yeah. You need that to make the show interesting because obviously like the games are great for what they are and it's different experience playing it, but you can't just have like, okay, your turn, flamethrower, your turn. Well,
Hmm.
it needs to be more dynamic. It's an actual fight. So I like that the anime did that justice.
Now we get to see Mr. Mime pop off in the Flute Cup,
So
right?
was that his mom's mime?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I assume so. He's the main mime that we associate with stuff. And he was his weird looks are so weird though.
Dude, his
Like
facial
he has
expressions, I was laughing so hard. I thought it was so funny, but he was popping the hell off.
oh, he was amazing. And part of that I think is Ash being a great trainer and giving him good advice, but otherwise he's still skilled.
Yeah.
He's still a skilled
I feel
Pokemon.
like he's like the family Pokemon, Mr. Mime.
Man, if they had a book where it's like a companion book to this season and it says what level the Pokemon are during what fights, I would be all over that.
Oh
I'm
my
so
god.
curious on like what level Mr. Mime is right now, what level Pikachu is at. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Okay, and then after the Flute Cup, which I do like the fact that it's like Go had a little bit of a reality check and he thought it was just about like the strong Pokemon will win. So catching strong Pokemon is what you got to do. Meanwhile, it's like um, Pikachu and Mr. Mime probably aren't the most intimidating when other people are pulling out like I don't remember what they pulled out, but like let's say like a Gyarados or something. Like, but at the end of the
Yeah,
day, it's the
Mighty
teamwork.
Anna. Mighty Anna was
Mighty
one of
Anna.
them, like which is I don't think considered like a great Pokemon, but it's definitely considered an intimidating Pokemon. It has like
Yeah,
the intimidate power where it like weakens the opponent's attack level.
like from Go's perspective, like how is Mightyana gonna lose to Mr. Mime? But Mr. Mime, with both like his experience and
Yeah,
strategy
I think
from
I think
Ash.
Mighty yeah. The only thing I will say is Mighty Anna did not fight Mr. Mime, I think, because Mr. Mime was like, I'm out for this one.
No, Mr. Mime used reflection against like the big sumo guy.
Yeah, so that's not Mighty Anna,
Oh
that's
fuck.
what's his name?
Oh, Mightyana is like the hyena Pokemon. Oh my god, my
Yeah,
bad.
exactly. The other guy, man, I totally know it if I heard it, but now I'm forgetting. But yeah,
Chat,
I know who you mean, the fighting Pokemon. Yeah, Chad, come in here.
the big fighting dude.
Ariyama or something.
Yeah, and he even that
Yeah.
and that guy's even more intimidating. He's a gigantic sumo dude, Hariyama.
it's funny that they made even the opponent like kind of easy to laugh at because
Hmm.
he's like trying to throw out that water, but he's like doing it from his Pokemon, and he leans over, and he falls in, or he
Yeah,
falls. It they didn't have to make him uh cool or untouchable to make him a strong trainer, which was a nice touch, funny touch.
exactly, exactly.
But yeah,
Um,
that Master Mind might have been in trouble because Mighty Anna used Crunch, which is a dark move, which is super effective against Psychic. So honestly, it's probably good that he decided not to fight. It made Ash look better because if they did fight, Mighty Anna had a way better chance of winning than if when it fought Pikachu, for example.
and we get to see Pikachu in action, right? So that's
Of
cool as
course,
well.
we need that.
We
Yeah,
needed that because that's Ash's actual Pokemon.
yeah.
Okay, so after the Flute Cup, we have the Sinnoh Iceberg Race.
Another interesting aspect to the Pokemon world where it's like, okay, now we're not focusing on strength, we're focusing on speed, and a Piplup can be faster than its final evolution and Polion or something like
Hmm.
that. So yeah, that was interesting. Not my favorite episode, but it had some funny moments, especially at the end, like the gag of first Piplup gets jealous of the Toad Pokemon, the Toad fighting
Krogunk.
Pokemon, Krogunk, and then all of a sudden at the end, like a Psyduck appears. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, you're super helpful and fast, thank you. And then the other two are like, oh, heartbroken.
yeah.
We finally came over this.
It was
Yeah,
actually really comedic. It was really funny, like watching
it
this
was.
girl drop her glasses in the water. Piplup gets it, and then they're like, "Oh wow, you're so amazing, so helpful, thank you." And they become like friends, and there's this like bond. And then Krogunk does the same thing. And then after all this jealousy between Krogunk and Piplup, it happens again, and Psyduck appears, and I was just laughing so hard.
Man, she's so lucky at finding fast Pokemon because
Yeah,
literally like
right.
every Pokemon she finds, and it's always because she drops her glasses. It's like an ongoing thing. And then Ash and Go are like, "No way, you drop your glasses," sarcastically. Um, but yeah, every time there's super fast Pokemon that end up winning in the competition or tying in the competition. So yeah, she's definitely lucky in that sense.
Hell yeah.
I wonder if you can make money off of that too.
Off, yeah,
Your
probably.
Pokemon winning races.
I mean,
Yeah,
in the game, if you defeat another trainer, they give you their lunch money. So, so
exactly.
it's probably the same thing with these. There's got to be some type of reward for these races.
Another thing I appreciate about Pokemon, like it's always realistic too. Like a school kid will give you less money than like I don't know, an adult with a better job, for
A Japanese
example, a
salary man.
salary man. Exactly. So
Also,
it's interesting.
it's so funny that so Ash Ketchum is his name in the English dub, but in the sub he's Satoshi.
Yeah, that's why I think that the creator of Bitcoin is a fan of Pokemon because his name is Satoshi. Is it Nakamoto or something like that? Like the fake name
That's so like
of
yeah, the
the
fake
person
name.
who
Got it.
created Bitcoin. So yeah, I feel like he was just a fan of Pokemon. He's like, hey man, Ash created Bitcoin. That's the way I look at it, at least.
The next thing that happens is Ho Ho, a throwback to Ash's first episode when he's leaving um, whatever the Johto region. Is that his first region?
Yeah,
Um,
no,
no, Kanto region,
Kanto,
Kanto region.
Kanto or Kanto. Yeah, the
Yeah.
way
So
you
when he's
want to
leaving,
pronounce it.
I'm happy that they showed it. 'Cause I thought for a second they weren't gonna bring it up. Yeah. When Ash is leaving Pallet Town and starting his journey, and was like attacked by a bunch of Pokemon, he swears he thought he saw Ho Ho um, flying away. And I'm like, they better bring it up, and they brought it up, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and another thing I appreciate is they redid it
Hmm.
because in the first one it was like all in gold. If you remember, it was like bad quality, all in
Yeah.
gold. And they probably didn't know at that time what Ho would actually look like, what its official colors would be, and everything. So they brought it back, they reanimated it, and you actually saw Ho in its full glory. And in the next upcoming set, that's gonna be a combination of Team Rocket. It's also gonna have a Ho in it,
Ooh,
and the
cool.
trainer is like looking up, and the trainer is the actual trainer you played as, Ethan, in the second generation games, and he's looking up at the Ho, like shouting back to Ash, seeing it in the beginning.
Hmm.
I really need that card, but it made it made me think of how epic Ho is and how much I enjoyed this episode.
I love that the grandfather finally got to see Ho Ho after all this time. So it had to be when there was a rainbow and it was raining at the top of the tower with like the little not whatever
Feather,
with the feather and stuff like
rain,
that.
yeah.
And the kids didn't get to see it. Only the grandfather who spent his entire life trying to find them, or a long not
Hey,
his
they
entire
have time
life.
to see it,
They have
bro.
time.
They have time.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was wholesome and I just love the Pokemon world. I love it.
I agree, and I like the fact that he didn't tell them he saw it because he probably, first of all, probably would have felt bad, like them being like, "No fair, we didn't see it." But also, he didn't need to. He didn't need to like rub it in their face.
Yeah.
He was just happy with that 180 he's gone through, and he opened up his heart again to see the beauty of the world, and like Ho and his pessimism sort of reflected his entire like depressing worldview and how he didn't think magical things existed and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
then in the end, it's nice how Ash helped redeem him and saved his life in a sense.
Yep. What's next? Wait, did Ash end up catching a Dragonite?
Yes,
Dude,
yes.
he's building a
Uh,
lineup. I think he's gonna build an insane lineup in this season for
he
some.
is. I mean,
I have a feeling.
already. And how sick is it? He didn't start with a Caterpie, bro. He started with a Dragonite. So again, like you said, we're not going back to the beginning. Straight from the bat, his first Pokemon he caught here ends up being a Dragonite, which is considered one of the best Pokemon
Yeah.
like you can get, right?
Hmm.
It's considered a pseudo legendary, and it explains it in this that it's very rare for people to have sightings of it. Um, and then
Also,
obviously Ash is
just to cut
super
you off
lucky and
there
gets the
super quick,
island.
in
Yeah.
regards to the Caterpie thing, there was no reason for him to catch some of those early Pokemon like
No,
Bill
he
was
has them.
doing,
Yeah.
because he already has them.
No,
I guess he doesn't
100%.
actually have it because Caterpie ended up turning into a Butterfree, and then the Butterfree was like he let free because it was in love.
Yeah, I get the reason, but I just appreciate that. For example, he didn't catch the Weedle or whatever because he probably didn't have a Weedle.
Hmm. True, and
It's just not his goal.
it's not his
Yeah,
goal.
to
He's already
catch
caught a
everything.
bunch of Pokemon. He's not trying to catch them all. I guess he's just trying to become a Pokemon master, and whatever that means. I will say
Yeah,
though, it was cool that Go caught a Caterpie first, the same way Ash caught a Caterpie first.
100%. And Ash could look and be like, "Oh yeah, that brings me back."
Mhm. And in Ash catching a Dragonite, they had a bond prior to it evolving into a Dragonite.
Exactly.
What was it called? A
Yeah.
Dragonair. He helped it
Yeah,
fly.
it's the Dragonair. It couldn't fly, so he helped it fly by making Pikachu use like electric web and showing it how to bounce off of it in order to help facilitate learning Dragon Dance, which in turn strengthens it and lets it then fly. And we're learning a lot about Pokemon here. And one of my favorite aspects to it, it's like, why does a Dragonair look so different from a Dragonite? Why did it evolve legs and hands? And it's a speculation, but I like it. Dragonites are known to rescue people,
Hmm.
and what Dragonair was trying to rescue Ash, its skin just Ash would just slip off its skin, so it evolved, and then they come to the conclusion that it's not proven, but it's likely that it evolved so it could save people with its hands because it couldn't as a Dragonair, which was such a cool thing. And I love how we're still learning stuff about the Pokemon world so many years
Yeah,
later.
especially if like this is like I mean it is canon, but like if the majority of Dragon Knights are on this one island, right? Then
That's how I feel about it. Yeah,
and this island is hidden because of whatever the circumstances is.
they
This
had good reasoning there too, but go on.
Yes, and so that's why they're always going to be saving people because people are constantly going to be caught in that storm that protects this island. So if they wanted to like in their upbringing, in their evolution, they want to save these people, it makes sense for them to have arms based on their location and what keeps on happening,
Yeah,
which I think is great. And they
and
also brought
then
up. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah. No, I was gonna say a nice touch is that they made it sort of like a Bermuda Triangle
Hmm.
where you don't have signal there, so it's really well protected.
Yeah,
And I like in the end how they decided to not publish a paper about it and to just keep that mystery to themselves to protect the Dragonite,
I
right?
agree. I agree. Also, there was a theory a while back that like was a Dragonair was supposed to evolve into Milotic, and then maybe they changed their mind or something and decided to do Dragonite. Um, and they even bring up the Milotic in the anime.
Yeah, the only issue is Melodic is
It's a completely
such
different
like a
generation.
later generation.
Yeah, maybe the
But
author changed their minds and kept it for later.
yeah, maybe. Melodic is such a weird like first generation, like first evolution too. It's like a ugly fish sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like an ugly brown fish and then becomes a beautiful Melodic.
Okay, what happens next?
I will just
Gengar.
add
Go
that
ahead.
I like the way that when he caught the Pokemon Dragonite, it wasn't even like he didn't even have to try. The Dragonite's like, "Oh, I want you to catch me,"
Hmm.
and then he's literally like, "Okay, cool." Like there was no question of whether the Pokeball would end up being like successful. It will because the Dragonite wanted to catch him based on friendship. So I thought that was
That's
cool.
that's such a Ash catch.
Yeah, and then we get the Gengar.
Yeah, Gengar is cool. I was always a fan of Gengar.
I'm thinking he's gonna catch this Gengar.
You think?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I think he's gonna catch it, but it didn't work out that way, and it was a bit of a yeah. Again, I don't know how realistic it is that this little electric dog thing like sent the Gengar packing, but it's clear that Gengar is not done as we see him
Oh
in
yeah.
that eerie scene at the end.
Also, Gengar is a glass cannon of a Pokemon. In the
He's amazing,
games, in
bro.
the games, it could do so much damage, but like literally, it gets wrecked by everybody and anything, even a fucking little dog. So, I believe it.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I think Alakazam was that kind of situation too. I think super strong attack, but then defense you
Yeah,
could use work.
and fast. Gengar like super strong, super fast, gets wrecked so easily.
Okay, fair enough.
If you honestly, when I used to play with Gengar, I'm like, if I don't one shot the guy, like he's probably going down.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to play Gengar much because like you have to trade to evolve, and
Hmm.
that was always such a headache.
Yeah, dude, two of my main Pokemon that were always in my lineup, I always had to trade to evolve. I would run Machamp and Gengar.
Yeah. It's cool if you had the friends that had the thing, but as kids, like, yeah, my friends were playing, but there weren't a lot of people rich enough to get one of those like trading things. We
Oh yeah,
we didn't even
dude,
have it.
on the Game Boy Advance, you had to connect it via wire.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
did that before.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh my God, that's what a throwback.
Yeah,
I st
nostalgic, bro. That's
I
what I'm
still
saying.
have my Game Boy Color and my Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I have. I don't know how well it would work, but
Yeah.
I do have it. I do have it
What
too.
was your favorite Pokemon game?
Uh, I gotta say, um, I think it was probably, and I'm not gonna go back to the old ones and how much I enjoyed them at the time because I'm just gonna try to say what I think is actually a better game. And I did like Heart Gold.
Nice.
Um, but if I go back now, try to play those first ones, it's just so much grinding and like,
Hmm.
I'm sure I could enjoy it if I had like a summer off and, but now I
I'm not
appreciate that
fucking
new
leaving.
Pokemon games have that
WSG
fast
brakes.
pacedness. Because yes, maybe it's not as challenging, but as an adult, I like to just relax, turn off my brain a bit, and not have to like grind.
Hmm.
And yes, maybe a few battles will be a little more difficult because I'm not grinding, but then I could use strategy and stuff to figure out a way to overcome it. I prefer that than knowing I can't win unless I grind, which I feel like the first few games were kind of like that. But super nostalgic. I love the vibe of the games.
Or maybe you just didn't have the strategy in you yet. You didn't have the experience yet.
Perhaps,
No,
perhaps.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think my
I
favorite
was a
game was
kid.
Poke. Yeah,
Yeah.
100% same, dude. I would just level up my main guy to like the highest level possible and try to steamroll. I had no strategy.
I tried to do that, and then I'd do that because I had gold, and that was the one I played the most. And I do that with a Typhlosion,
Hmm.
that's in the cool line. And every time, and I had a game that didn't save, so I'd have to like try to get as far as possible with
Your
like
game didn't
with one
save.
game, yeah. And I tried to like speed run it, but
Oh my
every
God.
time I'd have trouble at the ghost leader.
That's so funny.
Is it? I don't know if it might not be Sabrina, it might be a different
I
one,
can't
but at the
remember.
scary city, Eerie City, I would always have trouble there.
So I had Pokemon Crystal, and I remember it having Cyndaquil as well. Is that the other half of Heart Gold? No.
No, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are remakes of Gold and Silver that came later, like
Hmm.
improved graphics, color, design
And
choices, and stuff like that.
was the Gold and
Crystal,
Silver? Go ahead.
Crystal is it came out around the same time, Gold and Silver.
Hmm.
It's just that like upgrade, just like
Got
there's
it.
for Diamond and Pearl, there's Platinum, you know.
Got it. Yeah. So I played
For
Crystal. I did
Ruby
not
and
play Gold and
Sapphire,
Silver.
there's Emerald.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crystal was my first Pokemon game, and then I played like Fire Red, but my favorite was Emerald.
Emerald. Yeah, I didn't play Emerald, but I did get the chance to beat what was the remake called? Something Ruby, right?
Yeah, with
I played that
so
remake.
you got to catch
Omega Ruby.
Rayquaza.
Omega Ruby. I don't think I caught Rayquaza. I don't know if you can in it,
Oh,
but if you can, I didn't get that far. Because it
yeah.
was probably like a special thing. I caught the Groudon, right?
Oh,
But
got it. Yeah. So I caught You probably could if you caught Groudon, you probably could catch Rayquaza. It was like a special thing.
and then we already talked about the final episode, which was the Flash of the Titans, because it was so hype. We talked about it early. It was that great battle between Leon and Lance. Lance, us old school guys will remember, he's the dragon trainer. He was always associated with power and being super skilled. And then you have Leon, which it makes sense that a new series would create a new hero to beat. And he ends up beating him with the Charizard. Charizard, one of the most iconic Pokemon, one of the most consistent chase cards and expensive Pokemon in the card game as well. So he's just super popular all around. So it makes sense that we still get a Charizard uh, to be fans of, even though Ash might not be using it in the battle. So I think that pretty much covers it, unless you want to add anything else. I love the fact that the Charizard had a Thunder Punch. And so even though you think Gyarados Water is super effective against Charizard, that move can strategically flip the switch, and actually Charizard can be twice super effective against Gyarados because of flying type and water. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me, Briggs. If you get the chance to unmute, you can give me your closing thoughts too.
My closing thoughts while this alarm is going off. I just want to say I loved it. I really enjoyed it. We basically covered everything. I love that we were able to talk for close to an hour about these Pokemon episodes. And Emerald
Yeah,
Endgame is the best Pokemon Endgame.
fair enough. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna let you guys know in the description of the podcast what we decide to do next, if it's going to be the next 12 episodes, or if we're going to jump to some point in the future that may be more action packed. We'll see, but until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang.